glad to see everyone here. And I hope that time change didn't throw you off any. So we're gonna get straight into our show. This is Laura from Laura Cowan's Empowerment Hour. You can see us every Monday night from 6 to 7 right here on voiceitradio.com. Just go to www.voiceitradio.com and check out all our lineups. We have a big, huge 24-hour show. So check us out. So today we have a great show. It's part 2 of part 1. Yes, last week we had Mr. Derryl Tanner on and a couple of other guests and Joe from Fathers Lives Matter discussing Mr. Tanner's situation. So it was pretty much going on, a lot going on, and a lot of information given. So I felt like it was warranted to have a part 2 is try to continue and get some updates and keep you abreast of what's happening. You can also check this out. We'll be on Mixcloud. It's going to be recorded. And I'm quite sure engineer Earl will throw it up on YouTube so you won't miss any of it if you missed it right now live. So without further ado, let's get straight into the show. Hello, Mr. Tanner. Our guest tonight, Mr. Derryl Tanner, a father who is in desperate need of help from the community people. He has a situation he wants to talk to you about. We're going to do a little recap from last week in case you guys kind of missed a little bit of last week. We're going to go straight into what's happening now, and he's going to introduce his guest that he brought onto the show. Hello, Mr. Tanner. How are you?
Good evening, Laura. How are you today?
I'm good. Well, good to see you. So I'm glad you're here. Kind of give us a little recap of what happened from last week, and we're going to bring everybody up to speed for this week.
Well, just to go over a little bit of last week, I'm in a situation now where I'm dealing with custody. I'm dealing with custody of for now, my youngest daughter, who was abruptly taken away. I was caught up in a situation where I found out that biologically I didn't father her after she was 6 years old in the courts. And that's where a whole lot of my troubles started from that point on. So just to fast forward a little bit, at this point, I have no visitation set up. I'm not allowed at this point to spend time with her, and sometimes it's even hard to talk to her. We recently took her to a hospital when she got to visit her mother, and she was diagnosed with malnutrition and dehydration. She told the civil service that she does not feel safe where she's at. She told the civil service that she's not eating where she's at. She said 2 times a day she'll get noodles. She doesn't feel any type of connection over there, and she wants to come home. She wants to go home. She does not want to be in the place that she's at. Well, because of the politics with the courts and the politics with the guardian ad litem, they're making it very difficult to give this child what it is that she's begging for, which is happiness, which is safety, and to be well off.
So for right now, go ahead.
So I reached out, thanks to you, Laura, and even some of your listeners. I had a chance to talk to Joe Jones, who's the head of Fathers Lives Matter, and I also met after the show. Also met with Black Lives Matter, and I went down to their movement down at the juvenile center. So this is where we are now, and we have some, a little bit of news. Since then. They're all eager. They're all willing to help, and they want to go all the way to save this little girl, to save my little girl.
Exactly. Were you able to obtain another attorney? You want to tell everybody what happened with the attorney situation from last time and any updates for now?
Yeah, the day of your show, I had court that day, and the attorney quit. 3 years into this trial, he quit. And the reasons that he gave to quit, one, wanted more money, and 2, he found the information that I'd given him was very disturbing, is what he used. So disturbing that it made him quit. It's a situation where he wanted to quit anyway, and he found a loophole. The information that I'd given him was information about my daughter, and honestly, Laura, it was disturbing. So disturbing that I gave it to him to do something about it. The doctor felt that it was very disturbing. The nurse felt it was very disturbing. Even social service felt that it was very disturbing. So disturbing that they suggested, not only suggested, they called the courts and they called Child Protective Service and said this child should not be in the environment that she's in. She spoke to them and she spoke to them alone. So the information I've given him, it was that disturbing that these people said she should not be in that house. But he quit.
Incredible. So now, as of right now, you have no attorney, you're not representing yourself.
Not at the moment. Although I know the case better than anyone, I did speak to an attorney that for the lives that matter. I did speak to an attorney that they recommended. So we're in negotiations now.
Very good. Excellent. Whew, my goodness. I tell you, because you can't go in there without it. You really need, that pro bono will not work in this situation. You brought on a guest with us today. You want to introduce your guest?
Yeah, this is Tamica Johnson, my sister-in-law who works down for the city of Cleveland, who knows all about the cases, been there since day one and has a lot of insight. She knows my daughter, spent time with her, and they developed their own relationship as well. And at one point, she actually even helped and given some pertinent information to this attorney who
quit. Incredible. And what he do with that information? Pretty much filed it.
He filed the information. He used it. And before you speak to me, also, it's exactly what it is that we talked about off air, Laura, along with Joe and also Al Porter. They let me know that these people are going to come after me. They started to. Received the letter already. I received it already, and they're coming. But Laura, I didn't come this far to stop. I didn't come this far to turn around.
Yeah, you was forewarned. That's what was going to happen. But yeah, you can't. And now that you have organization behind you, and we'll get several more, they won't be able to touch you, but they will antagonize you to death. Trust me on that. Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, Ms. Johnson.
I'm sorry, I keep cutting off, but I read a passage from someone who I have the utmost respect for. You had the pleasure of talking to her last week, and who was also down at the movement, which is my mother's prayer partner, spiritual guide and minister, Vilma Draper, and she had me read a passage that made so much sense in this case. And in Deuteronomy 28:7, it talked about how the two kings came together to try and conquer the lesser, but we prevailed, we won.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All the time. Evil will never win. Never. Just remember that the light will shine. Okay. So you can get the honors to introduce us to Tamica.
My sister-in-law who works for the city, very, very candid in this case, and knows a lot, been there since day one, and has helped.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for joining us, Ms. Johnson. We
no problem.
Appreciate it. You want to tell the audience who you are and your affiliation and what you got regarding this case.
Okay. Again, I'm Tamica Johnson, and I am Mr. Tanner's sister-in-law. And I have seen the child before. And after she was removed from the home, it's very heartbreaking as a mother. You would want what Mr. Tanner has done and continues to do for not just his daughter, but his sons as well. And it was just shocking that the children were pulled from a stable home. They were never not cared for, left alone. They were always educated, great school system. They were in programs after school, before care, sports, everything that 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 a parent would do basically. And I use that term parent because just because you're biological doesn't necessarily make you a great parent. And so Bella is a very outspoken young lady, very, very smart. She could blend in, she could basically hold her own. So to hear that she's uncomfortable or afraid, that's causes concern because that's not her. Let's see, like as far as with the attorney, the things that I was able to provide to him were basic public searches. And I remember one day at court, and he needed some information that was pertaining to the case that could have helped the case. And it was like he really didn't put forth an effort. He says, "Oh, we'll look into it later," or well, we're not going to worry about that. So I pulled off to the side, did a basic search. Here's the information. He says, "Wow, how did you get that? I should hire you." Really? And so that's the type of attorney that he had. I don't think the attorney understood what the fight was for and what the fight was about. To him, it was just maybe two parents bickering. But he didn't see, and this is my opinion, the judge didn't see it as well. They didn't see what was about to happen. They didn't prevent what happened. And they didn't give any a solution as to what could happen. So now it's like you're proactive. You have Mr. Tanner fighting for the children that he's had. Why? Why am I fighting for the children that I've had? I took to the doctors. I did homework with. I made sure they had activities. I made sure they're clothed. You know what I mean? I prepared meals. I provided medicine. One of the children has, two of the children have medical conditions. Mr. Tanner has been there since I've been around. And so to just pull her from the home, it just is I don't know, I don't have an answer for that. I would love to hear from the judge as to why did you pull her from the home? What was he doing that was so bad that you pulled her from him? Is it just because he wasn't the biological, but he's still the father? Exactly. From the moment of birth, he's the only father that she's known. What about how she feels. Did she have a say so? No. And so now
That's true.
you have a 6-year-old. I mean, not a 6-year-old. You have a young lady that's, I've been pulled from my father, that I know, that I feel safe, that I'm secure, that I know protects me when I need him to protect me. He's gone.
Right.
My brothers are second to my father. They're gone. I'm placed in a home of a stranger who's never had a child, one-on-one, who's never raised a child, has no clue what it takes to raise a child. And again, these are public searches that show this individual is not, I don't want to say parent material, because there was no book or manual to learn how to be a parent. However, you would think that there was a book and a manual when you look at how Mr. Tanner raised those kids. I would say he would have been the standard for parenting. The standard. And so it's heartbreaking. You just put her in a situation that we see so many times over and over and over, where the children are crying out and no one listens.
Yes.
And it's just sad.
Mhm.
It's sad.
It is sad. I don't understand that
Laura,
either. You're absolutely
I
right.
wonder, and I
Yes.
also want to let the viewers know, and the people who's listening, I want you all to understand. I was not brought to court. I was the one who took to court. In this case, if you look at it, it says plaintiff, Derryl Tanner.
Yeah.
Okay, not defendant. But the way that this system is turning around and what's being thrown at me, you would think that I was the defendant, and this is a criminal case. Some of the things that they're throwing up about me. I mean, Laura, I'm gonna be honest with you. Where I come from and how I came up, I've seen some bad things. Let's just say that I've seen some bad and know some really bad people. But I got to tell you, inside some of these courts, those are the most ruthless people that I have ever come across with in my life.
Incredible.
And I know and seen some bad people and bad things. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, when they make these decisions, not just about your life, but about your family life and about your well-being and how it affects your future years and years to come, they go home and go to sleep. After they've divided children. The biggest thing here, in this case, they divided my children. They divided my children and feel it's okay. That's the right thing to do, to divide these children from each other. And their
grandparents, their uncles, their aunts,
what they know,
everything that they've known.
Everything that they know. Bella knows my family. Bella knows her mother's family. Bella knows her mother. Bella knows me. This is what was not only instilled into Bella, this is what Bella has adopted herself. Her brothers, her mother, her grandmother, grandfather. She has, in her eyes, she has two sides of family. She has her mother's family. She has my family. Right. That's what Bella knows. Right. So but to these officials, these court officials, she's doing fine. And I would ask, like I have to ask on your show now, because I don't know if I'm gonna be able to ask in court now, but I would ask, when a child tells you that she's scared. When a child tells you she doesn't feel safe, when a child tells you she's not eating, when a child is malnutrition, when a child is, when a child has deficiencies, and you see the life going out of her, you see her deflating. How can you go to court and say she's fine? I would ask, what warrants fine? A teacher can't say that my child is fine if they don't know him before they told them they were fine. A court official can't say that my child is fine if they don't know her. What warrants fine? Bella is a very loving little girl. And what she does is try to appease. She appeases everybody. She wants everybody to be happy because she wants to be happy. And I think that they mistake the fact that sometimes she may have a smile on her face, that she's happy. But let me tell you something, Lord, that smile is out of place. That smile is completely out of place. And the smile is out of place. You can look at her, but Bella was almost 60 pounds 2 years ago. Today, Bella is almost 60 pounds 2 years later. And this is what the doctors and the nurse, they drew her blood. And they told these people that this child is undernourished. That's what they said to them. They told them that. They called. And what's happening is every time that these call, these are not just, these are not malicious ways or malicious calls. This stuff is not done maliciously. I'm doing this to save her life. We all know what happened with Anaya Day. We all know what happened in that situation. And Anaya Day didn't die. She didn't die from a final blow, not a final blow. It was over time when they went into her mental, or at the hands of the parent, when mentally she was destroyed, soulfully she was destroyed, her heart was destroyed, she had nowhere to go. Then she succumbed to her injuries. I don't understand how could they put these children in this situation without the proper care. What happens is, when you're dealing with this system, they get caught up into their personal vendettas and their personal emotions and put that before the children. I'm dealing with a system and an official of the court right now who has more personal issues and vendettas. And she's allowing that to take over what it is her duties to this child is. The duties to the child. So systematically, my daughter is being failed because of personal gripes. The very system that these children count on to protect them is the system that's failing them and killing them.
Miss Laura.
They named the Child Protection Services. Yeah.
Oh,
go ahead, Tamica.
So there is a checklist for mothers that will determine, per se, if you have what is required for children. It's available online. It's you can pull it up basically. I don't know the exact name of it, but the requirements are food, shelter, clothing, and activities or religious beliefs or having a religious base. These are 5 things that are required. Mr. Tanner had more than 5, more than 5. And it's like the rule is different for moms versus dads. Let's say
Hmm.
mom wasn't available.
Yeah.
You skip over the dad
Mhm.
and do you go to the grandparents? Why? When you have a hands-on father that's present,
Yeah.
that wants to be a father, that's hands-on, that's been here, done it. It makes no sense. And often you hear, oh, Ohio's the state where everything is for the mother. They'll give the mom everything she needs to be successful. Okay.
Mhm.
In this situation, mom was taken out, dad was taken
Yeah.
out, and she was given to a stranger just because she shares DNA with them. What about is she being clothed? We already know she's not being fed. She's malnutrition. Does she have a religion? Because she had a church base with her dad and her grandmother. They attended services together. It was even explained to them what's happening. Do you have questions? Bella said, I want to do this. So this is how you know that she's very intelligent. Because she would have said, no,
Mhm.
I don't want to do this. But for a mother,
Yeah.
mom can have maybe one, possibly a half. Mom can say, I don't have anywhere to live. Mom will be given shelter. Oh, well, I don't have furniture. Mom will be given vouchers for furniture. I don't have
Right.
food. I don't have resources to get food. Mom will be given food vouchers, food assistance. You see the difference? But a father has to
Sure
fight
do.
for the basic necessity, basic. He's just trying to really be present in his daughter's life right now because they're telling you, okay, well, you can't be her dad.
Mhm.
And it's two-sided. You have fathers, and it's sad to say that you have some dads that could care less. Could care
Yeah.
less.
Mhm. Mhm.
But when
It's
you
true.
have a dad that wants to be involved, that enjoys being involved, that's very rare. And I think that should be not celebrated, but more embraced.
Mhm.
Let me give you what you need to do
Yeah.
what it is that you need. There were times where we would tell not Mr. Tanner, we would tell Derryl, you need a break.
Mm.
You should go here or just take an hour to yourself. Mr. Tanner said, no, no,
Mm-mm.
I'm going, my children are going. That's the type of person he is.
Yeah.
So I wish I could. I'm gonna pull it up and I'll give you the exact checklist that's required for moms and it's not required for the men. So
Yeah. I would like to see it too because I told Mr. last week that the courts have always been, and we don't know why, in favor of mothers, unless she's deemed uh, totally unfit. It's a
yeah,
favoritism for the mom over the father
yeah,
every single time,
yeah.
every single time. And that we have to change and revamp. And we
Hmm.
have to do that by not electing these guys in certain offices, because that's where the laws and things need to be changed. We
I
have to
agree.
revamp the system because it's not working. It's not working. And children are dying every day. Some make the news and some don't. Can you trust
Yeah,
me? There's a lot that don't. I remember seeing it was somewhere on TikTok. I caught the end of it where they were dragging a girl back. I guess she ran away from home. They were dragging her back and she was screaming. The police had her and she says, no, I don't want to go back there. I'm scared. They hurt me. I don't want to go back there. And they still took her back there. After all that, she was screaming out to them. Did they not hear her? In the
They heard
comments, you
her.
can just read. People were just saying in the comments, what she's gonna die there.
And
It's
then
just
that's when,
incredible. I don't understand it.
and it's sad because once the child dies, now you want to go and say, oh, we could have did this.
Yeah.
We could have did that. Well, why didn't you do it when you had the time? So,
Exactly.
And Laura, real quick to some of your to some of the viewers, and in case somebody's interested, I would like to actually read the case number, my case number, and maybe you guys can go ahead and do some of your own due diligence. My case number is 19J as in Jimmy, G as in God, 56574. I'll read it again. 19J G 56574 is the case number. And you guys can look up some of the information that I may not share today, but it will be shared, all of it, eventually.
Yeah. Needs to be.
But just so that we all on the same page. And again, my main purpose here, Laura, is to bring awareness to the people about the courts and about the situation and the court officials, everybody from the attorneys to the guardian ad litems, and also to bring awareness, and maybe that after people hear this and see this, then they'll turn their attention to where the attention is supposed to be turned. And to piggyback a little bit off of what Tamica is saying, and I want to let you know, since we talked last week, Child Protective Service went out to the house again.
Okay.
The police was called again. And again, same result. This is where same result. This is what they said. This is where she needs to be. And it boils down to personal vendettas and emotions. And here it is. You have these children caught up in the middle of this. One thing about this whole case, or any of the officials, I'm not to a point where I hate someone more than I love my kids. I love them more than I hate someone else. I love them so much, I would be willing to let them go to a situation that they feel is better and they would be much happier in.
Right.
That's where I'm at now, but that's truly how I feel. I care about their well-being, about their safety, about their happiness, about them being together. We're talking a lot about my little girl, but I got 3 other kids. One is grown, and my other 2 boys, who this has affected them drastically. They miss their sister. And it's to a point, Laura, it amazes me that not only was she taken away, there's not even a plan in place for her, not just to see me, not just to be with me, but even her mother and her brothers. And they said, and you all be the judge of this, they said, that's fine. She's fine. She's fine being away from the people who she's known all her life. She's fine being with a stranger. She's fine. She's fine being
in a city that she doesn't know, has no one to go to. Let's say she got locked out of the house. Where would she go? Who could she call?
Don't know anybody.
Right. She doesn't know anyone where she is.
Is she in school or homeschool? Do you know?
They haven't told me. Now,
Mm.
I hear she's in school, and one of the things that they talked about in court, oh, she's doing well in school. Well, here's the thing, Laura. She was taught well.
Ah,
So whenever
yeah,
I hear about her doing well in anything, it doesn't surprise
yeah.
me because that's what she was taught to do. She's resilient. She's persistent. She's resistant. For a little girl, she's very strong. So it doesn't surprise me. She did well when she was with me.
Yeah.
She did well when she was with her mother. I expect her to go somewhere and do well. And even under the conditions that she's in right now. So that don't surprise me that she's doing well in school. Another reason she's probably doing well in school, she can eat at school. She can have
Mm,
lunch at
mm.
school. There's
Okay,
peers.
there you go.
She has
Right.
peers surrounding her at school. But also
Hmm.
want you all to keep in mind the school even told the court officials, "Oh, she's fine here too." And I would ask them the same question: What warrants fine?
Right.
How can you say
Right.
someone is fine that you just met? What is it you got to know about this little girl and about the situation that she come from to say she's fine? If she says she's not fine,
And her
So what
medical test
happens
says she
now?
wasn't fine as well. With her not gaining
Yeah.
anything, that
the
says she's not
But to
well.
you,
the doctor says she's
yeah.
not fine. The nurse says she's not fine. Social service said that
Mhm,
she's not fine. Most importantly, Laura,
mhm.
she said she's not fine. She's
Exactly.
8 years old now. She knows better. She was raised right. Also, to piggyback off what Tamica said, you know, my children were raised, um, they were raised understanding God. Each one of my children leads the prayer. They lead the Lord's Prayer every night before we go to bed, each one of them. Bella asked to be baptized not too long before she was taken. It was almost like
Mm.
she sensed it, but she had asked to be baptized before. All my children asked to be baptized before. I never presented any of that to them, and I never pushed any of them. Bella was no different. Bella was the fourth one, and Bella said, "This is what she wants. This is how she feels." This is the way Bella came up. So her being resilient and her being strong, it's a hell of a thing for a child with that much strength who understands how to appease. But I tell you, Laura, she's not fine. She's not.
She
So,
absolutely is not. If you can look at her before and after photos and you can see a huge change in her. Her smile, it's not warm and inviting. It's more of a forced, hey, we're in front of the camera, smile. It's
mhm.
you can look at her frame. Um you without even saying it, just if you look at the photos, like they always say, a picture is 1,000 words. You'll
Yeah.
be able to determine what's happening in those photos.
We do have a lot of work to do, that's for sure. Mr. Tanner, I was telling you before, we will continue to monitor this case. And there's other things that you and I talked about that you need to do as well so that we can um, shed light on the situation because this is not normal, of course.
It's not.
And we don't want her to feel like she's alone. And then we're not fighting for her because we are fighting for her. And you have to keep us abreast of what's going on. I want to know, I'm going to connect you to what other, like we talked about before. We have a lot of work to do ahead of us. And my final show with you that I would like to do, I don't know exactly when it will be, is when she's back in the home. And that just to show people that there is hope and don't give up. And, this too will pass. We want her home safe. And that's the main thing, and happy, and her emotional and her spiritual being well intact. And we're
Mhm.
going to get that. So don't give up. Don't give up, Mr. Tanner, whatever you do, because I know it's hard. I know you're feeling it and it looks bad right now, but trust me, it will change. As long as you put in the work, it will change. And I know you're going to put in the work because you always have been, and you will continue. And we will be there to back you up every step of the way. I promise you that. Any closing marks, Miss Johnson, you'd like to say before we close out?
Um, Not more so closing remarks, more of a question. I would
Mhm.
love to bring on someone who could give us I don't want to, I guess the legal as to
Yeah.
hypothetically why this happened or how can we
Mm.
fix it? What can be done?
Right.
What resources can be offered to Mr. Tanner to, again, like you said, bring her home, but not just her brothers as well,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
everybody has been affected by this.
Mhm.
Um, I like you said,
And that's
I don't want to say I'm hoping for them to be home. I know they're gonna be home
yeah,
together. It's just gonna take some time,
yeah, of
and I'm
course.
hoping that someone that's listening can just help. I mean, whatever information they have and resources that they can give, put yourself in his shoes. If that was your
Right.
child, what would you do? And a lot of people is, oh, Mr. Tanner,
Yeah.
so he's not giving up, he's persistent. But if that was you, wouldn't you want someone to be persistent? Wouldn't you want to do whatever was needed to make sure that your children are safe? There's
Mhm.
there's no limit to what you would do for your children. But unless you're the dad, if you're the father, then no, you can't. You can only do so much. You can't do that.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Tanner, any closing remarks?
Yeah, this is, it's to a point, Nora, where um I think we I think we passed the challenge part, and now it's time for battle.
Hmm.
So this will be the
Yes. There you go.
next phase. We started off challenging.
Hmm.
Um, Absolutely not will I give up, especially hearing my little girl say those words to me. Daddy, thank you for fighting for me. Those were her exact words. I stood between both my boys, and my daughter wrapped her arms around my waist and said, thank you for fighting for me. And damn it, Lord, that's what I'm gonna do. I ain't gonna stop. So the
Yeah.
challenge is over in this
I know
battle.
you are. It's battle time. Battle time. We have a lot of work to do, and we have to bring awareness to this situation because, like I said before, there's others. There's many other fathers out there in your situation don't know what to do. They haven't even gotten as far as you have because they don't know how to, and the courts are not helping them whatsoever.
Hmm.
So I applaud you, Mr. Tanner, for everything you've done. Thank you for Ms. Johnson for coming on and being support to him because he needs all the support he can get right now. And we
As
as the
much as I
village
can.
will be
Hmm.
with you. Yeah, we as the village will be with you in every step of the way. We're not done. Oh, we're not done yet, people. We have a lot to go on. And Mr. Tanner, like I said, we're going to continue with updates on this. We'll give you some time. So by the time you get your new attorney in and get going and get some other organizations and things we talked about putting in place for later. and then we'll have you back on the show with updates so everybody can see the progress that you have made. So thank you, people. Thank you so much for being part of the show. We appreciate it so much. This is Laura Cowan with Laura Cowan's Empowerment Hour, right here on voicesradio.com. Thank you, and we will see you next week.